2016 has finished, actually almost a month ago. And 2016 was a really interesting year for Apple. So we've seen quite a few new products. We've seen not one, not two, but actually 3 new iPhones. We've seen 4 new Apple Watch models with the Apple Watch Series 2. And then we've also seen the new MacBook Pro redesign and a few other products. And we even saw an Apple book. Yeah, Apple actually released a book in 2016. But yeah, still, 2016 was a really interesting year for Apple. So hey everyone, welcome to ZONEofTECH. I'm Daniel, and I just wanted to do this video and talk about what were the top 5, at least my personal top 5 Apple products that were released in 2016. So yeah, enjoy. So coming in at number 5, we have the Apple Watch Series 2 and also the Apple Watch Nike Plus Edition, because we've actually had quite a few Apple Watch models in 2016. So the original Apple Watch that was unveiled in September 2014 was finally removed completely in 2016. And in 2016, we've actually seen not 1, not 2, not 3, but actually 4 new Apple Watch models. So the first model was called the Apple Watch Series 1. So this was basically the replacement for the original Apple Watch. And this one looked identical to the Apple Watch. The only difference was that this one actually had a dual-core processor, the Apple Watch P1 processor, actually the Apple P1 processor. But yeah, besides being faster, there were no differences between the Apple Watch Series 1 and the original Apple Watch. Then Apple has also revealed the Apple Watch Series 2. So this is basically the Apple Watch 2. This is the biggest change since the original Apple Watch. So this one came with an even faster processor than the Series 1. It also came with a twice as bright display than the first generation, and the display can actually go up to 1000 nits of brightness. That's basically double the amount on the new MacBook Pros, the new 2016 MacBook Pros, and it's almost 3 times the amount on the old MacBook Pros. So yeah, really impressive. It also comes with a GPS, and now if you go running, you don't really need to take your iPhone with you. And then finally, the biggest change is in terms of water resistance. So water resistance has been increased from 1.5 meters to 50 meters. So that's a massive improvement. Finally, the Apple Watch Series 2 is now swim-proof, so you can actually go swimming with the Apple Watch. You can now take a shower with the Apple Watch. You even have swim workouts now, so you can actually track your progress while swimming. And then I said that there were 2 more models. So the next one is the Apple Watch Edition. Now, unfortunately, the gold Apple Watch, the previous edition, was actually removed, so no more gold Apple Watch. This one was actually replaced by a ceramic Apple Watch, which is still called the Apple Watch Edition. However, it's much cheaper. And then the 4th model was the Apple Watch Nike Plus Edition. So this is basically exactly the same as the Apple Watch Series 2, the aluminum model. The only difference, so it still comes with a GPS, brighter display, and water resistance. However, the only difference is that this one actually comes with a unique band designed by Nike, and it also comes with some unique new watch faces. But the interesting thing here is that this one actually has the exact same price as the regular Apple Watch Series 2 aluminum. So there's no actual reason to not get this one over the other one, because this one actually comes with a unique band and some more watch faces. So there you go, the Apple Watch definitely deserves a number 5 in this list. Now, this is the reason why I've included in this list, because, well, GPS, this is a pretty big improvement. And then the second one, at least in my opinion, is the 50 meter water resistance. So pretty big improvements when it comes to the Apple Watch, especially the Apple Watch Series 2. Now, the reason why it's at number 5 and not at number 4 or even 1 is because, well, 1, it's actually more expensive. So the Series 2 is more expensive than the Series 1, which is more expensive than the Series 0 or the original Apple Watch, at least in the UK because of Brexit currency adjustments, but it also lacks a new design. So basically it looks identical to the original Apple Watch, and it's also thicker. So it's actually thicker by 1 millimeter, and you won't actually notice a difference unless you actually look at those 2 Apple Watches up close. So yeah, number 5, the Apple Watch. In case you want to know more about the Apple Watch Series 2, I actually did a separate in-depth video just on that in case you want to check it out. Now, coming in at number 4, we have the brand new iPad Pro. Not the iPad Pro 12.9 inch, because that one wasn't updated in 2016, or the iPad Mini, because yeah, we haven't seen a new iPad Mini or an iPad Air, but actually a brand new iPad Pro. So an iPad Pro 9.7 inch. So this new iPad Pro 9.7 inch was basically a smaller version of the 12.9 inches iPad Pro. Well, basically this was in fact the iPad Air 3, just with a different name. So it basically had the exact same design as the iPad Air 2, however it came with a much faster processor now, the Apple A9X chip, which is simply just ridiculously powerful. But by the way, the Apple A10 chip that's inside the iPhone 7 is actually slightly more powerful than the Apple A9X. But yeah, the Apple A9X inside the iPad Pro is almost as powerful as a MacBook Air, more powerful than a 12-inch MacBook, and really close when it comes to the performance of a 15-inch 2013 MacBook Pro with a quad-core i7 Haswell processor. The iPad Pro 9.7, just like the larger iPad, a 12.9-inch version, also came with Apple Pencil support. It also came with 4 speakers instead of 2, so basically 2 speakers on each side, just like on the iPad Pro 12.9 inch. And then it also came with a pretty unique new feature, a True Tone display. So this basically adjusts automatically its temperature based on the temperature, the lighting conditions in your room. And since then, Apple hasn't released any devices that support a True Tone display. So the iPad Pro 9.7 is the only device, the only Apple device that has this feature. The new 9.7 inch iPad Pro also features support for that brand new Apple Smart Keyboard that basically Apple introduced with the iPad Pro 12.9 inch, so same keyboard, just smaller. So the iPad Pro 9.7 inch is at the moment the best iPad ever released. Now the reason why it's only at number 4 in my list and not higher is because, well, it's called the iPad Pro. This is the iPad Air 3, it's called the iPad Pro, and because it's called the iPad Pro, Apple actually charges more. So it's more expensive than the iPad Air 2 or what the iPad Air 3, so to say, would have been priced at. Next up at number 3 we have the iPhone 7, well, not the regular iPhone 7, but the iPhone 7 Plus. So even though the design of the iPhone 7 was pretty much unchanged from the iPhone 6s and even the iPhone 6 back in 2014, the iPhone 7 did come, in fact, with some pretty big changes. So the main design change was actually the 2 new colors, matte black and jet black. And in case you want to know more about these two, jet black and matte black, and also how they hold up in time, I actually did a separate video and even a scratch comparison of the matte black iPhone 7 and the jet black iPhone 7 after a few months of use. But yeah, my personal iPhone is this one, so the iPhone 7 Plus in matte black, and I simply love this phone. The headphone jack was indeed removed, which did cause quite a lot of controversy. However, we did get quite a ton of improvements. So massive performance improvements with the Apple A10 processor, also 3GB of RAM on the iPhone 7 Plus, which was a first on the iPhone, a DCI-P3 display just like on the 5K Retina iMac, so much more vibrant colors, deeper blacks, and even a higher contrast, and also for the first time in an iPhone, a 256GB option, and also 32GB as the baseline model, finally. Also, for the first time in an iPhone, the iPhone 7 was finally water resistant, up to 1 meter of water, up to 30 minutes. So that was pretty impressive for a phone, and a lot of users actually did, they actually dropped this in a lake or even really deep pools. And the iPhone 7 was fine, in some cases even after a few days of being completely submerged in deep water. And then we also got some pretty big camera improvements, especially on the iPhone 7 Plus with this dual camera module, which basically allows you to zoom twice, optical zoom basically, without losing any quality. And you can also take those really nice, really impressive depth of field shots. Other changes include those dual stereo speakers. The physical home button was removed, so it's now a full Force Touch home button, just like on the new MacBook Pro's trackpads. The battery life was improved as well, so overall we got a lot of changes with the iPhone 7. I'm not going to cover everything in this video, but yeah, the iPhone 7 came with a ton of changes. Now the iPhone 7 was great, however the iPhone 7 Plus was the star of the show this year, so to say, especially with that dual camera module that I talked about before, and also because it comes with 3GB of RAM, actually a first in an iPhone. Not even to mention that really impressive battery life. So the iPhone 7 was pretty impressive, however, it's only at number 3, and that's because the design has basically remained unchanged, so nothing major when it comes to the design. The iPhone 8 next year, which I've made quite a few videos about, and I've left all of those leaks and rumors episodes linked in the description, the iPhone 8 is going to be a really big change. So, number 2. If the iPhone 7 is at number 3, then what do we have at number 2 and number 1? Well, at number 2, we have something that got a ton of improvements this year, a complete redesign and a ton of performance improvements and other improvements as well, and that's obviously the new MacBook Pro. So yeah, the new MacBook Pro has been finally redesigned. The MacBook Pros haven't been redesigned since 2012, so yeah, this is 4 years since the last MacBook Pro redesign. So these are the brand new MacBook Pros, and overall, this is one of the biggest change the MacBook Pro lineup has ever got. So the first thing that we got was a brand new design that was much thinner and also a smaller design than the previous ones, so it actually had a smaller footprint, and the new MacBook Pros are also lighter than the previous ones. One of my favorite changes is the new space gray color, which I think simply looks incredible. I don't see the point now of getting a silver MacBook Pro. The space gray one simply looks amazing. And then we also got some pretty major display improvements. So we now have a DCI-P3 display with amazing color reproduction, deeper blacks, greater contrast, and also much brighter than before at 300, actually at 500 nits now from 300. So in terms of the quality, the new MacBook Pros actually have the exact same display quality apart from the resolution as the 5K Retina iMac. So DCI-P3, same brightness levels, and it simply looks amazing. Another big change is the fact that all the ports on the new MacBook have now been replaced by USB Type-C ports, and they all support Thunderbolt 3. So in case you don't know, Thunderbolt 3 is the fastest connection in the world right now, with speeds up to 40 gigabits, not gigabytes, per second. And if you do the math, that's 5 gigabytes per second for each port. So this is a very, very future-proof machine. And it can also drive now a 5K display at 60 Hz from a Thunderbolt port. And yeah, with the 15-inch MacBook Pro, you can actually drive two 5K displays at 60 Hz, plus the built-in 2K display, plus an additional 4K monitor. So that's pretty insane. We also got some pretty major performance improvements. With faster RAM, we also got finally Skylake processors because we didn't even have Broadwell on the 15-inch MacBook Pros before, only Haswell. We also got faster flash storage up to 3 GB per second. That's simply insane. This thing is ridiculously fast. And then we also got the brand new AMD Polaris architecture GPUs, the best one being the AMD 460 Pro, which is basically the AMD 460M, and you can get that in the 15-inch MacBook Pro. Those are based on the new 40nm AMD Polaris architecture, so they're really power efficient. Actually, they achieve twice basically the same performance at half the power consumption of the previous generation. So yeah, they're not bad. They're definitely not made for gaming, but they're actually really impressive, especially when it comes to driving high resolution displays. But the biggest change on the new MacBook was this touch bar. So this has now replaced all the function keys, and you basically get unique customizable keys depending on which app you're using. Now, unfortunately, not all apps are using it, so developers have to update their own apps to take full advantage of it. So it's only really useful in apps such as Photoshop, and that's pretty much it at the moment. Now, in case you want to know everything about that new touch bar, I actually did a separate in-depth video just about that touch bar, about what it does, what you can do with it, what it doesn't, and everything you need to know. So if you want to see everything about the touch bar, here's the video, and yeah. So we got a 15-inch MacBook Pro with a touch bar, a 13-inch MacBook Pro also with a touch bar, and then a 13-inch MacBook Pro without a touch bar. So this one basically replaces the MacBook Air. I mean, you can still buy the MacBook Air, but that's basically its purpose. And these are not the only changes, there's so many more, such as improved speakers and improved keyboard. So having said all this, the new MacBooks look really impressive. So why aren't they at number 1? Well, the reason for that is the price. So they're really expensive. They're more expensive, much more expensive than the previous generations. And yeah, basically the non-touch bar MacBook Pro 13-inch is more expensive, much more expensive than the previous model, which Apple actually kept at the same price. And then the touch bar MacBook Pros are more expensive. And yeah, basically a maxed out 15-inch MacBook Pro with a touch bar is more than £4,000, which is simply ridiculous. I mean, it's basically the price as a car. You can buy a used car or a decent car with that money. So yeah, and also in terms of the performance, it's powerful, but it's not powerful enough for the pros, especially when it comes to the GPU. And yeah, there's so many things that I want to say about the new MacBooks. So I'll have a separate video about that. But yeah, the battery is also an issue. They don't actually last as Apple advertises, so nowhere near 10 hours. I get about 4 to 5 hours, and that's on the integrated GPU. And yeah, more about that maybe in a separate video. But these are the reasons why the new MacBook Pros are only at number 2. Okay, so having said all this, what do you guys think is going to come next at number 1? So let me know in the comments by using the hashtag, I don't know, number 1 or something. Let me know what do you guys think is coming up next, and I'll show you what I believe is the best Apple product for 2016 in like, I don't know, 10 seconds. Maybe some of you will get it right. So coming in at number 1, this is the product that I believe had the most impact on the market, and this is the product that I believe is definitely the most interesting one and the most fun to play one, and also the best one of 2016. And I'm obviously talking about the new Apple AirPods. So I've always wanted a pair of completely wireless headphones, and also headphones with an amazing battery life, and the Apple AirPods are basically the best choice in both options. So the AirPods basically have 5 hours of battery life in each AirPod, and then you also have a case. So this is the carrying case, and this is also the charging case. So when you put the AirPods into the case automatically gives them power. So they charge in the case, and the case can give them up to 24 hours of additional battery life, and that's 24 hours of continuous usage. So yeah, the battery life on these things, if you consider the case, they're amazing. And apart from this, the AirPods automatically connect to all of your Apple devices, so no need to go into the settings and repair them. So I'm really impressed by the AirPods. They have definitely exceeded my expectations, and in case you want to know more about the AirPods, I've done a really in-depth video just on that. In that video, I actually answered all of your questions that you had for me on Twitter and everything I could think of regarding the AirPods. I think that video is like 22 minutes, 25 minutes. It's really long and in-depth. So if you want to know everything about the AirPods, definitely check out my in-depth review here. But yeah, there you go. These were my top 5 Apple products of 2016. So let me know in the comments what were your top 5 Apple products of 2016. If you have enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like to let me know, and also feel free to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this one. So I might be doing a top 5 worst Apple products of 2016, so definitely stay tuned for that. Don't forget to enable notifications on my channel. You can do that by tapping on the bell icon next to my channel so that you're notified as soon as I upload a brand new epic video. There are still quite a few issues with the subscription feeds, so yeah, definitely have notifications enabled, that way you will be notified as soon as I upload a new video. But yeah, this was pretty much it for this video. Let me know in the comments if you're epic enough to make it until the end. But yeah, I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in my next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.